Okay, well, I have three cameras I want to show you today. This is my Texas Leica collection. I have three cameras to show you. I want to show you my GSW690 version 1, my GM670 6x7, and my GW680 3, so this is the third version, 6x8 camera. So collectively, these are fondly referred to as Texas Leicas because they're big. They take really fantastic photos like a Leica does. These are rangefinder cameras. They're all three phenomenal cameras. Very fun to use, easy to use. I'll start out with this GSW690. I bought this a few years ago. Back then I was very new to mechanical cameras. I've always had film cameras my whole life, but I was new to mechanical because I've always used more modern types of 35mm cameras. But about 3 years ago I bought a TLR by Yashica Flex TLR. It's a 6x6 format, and I really liked that. The picture quality that came out of it. The 120 film was just fantastic. So I wanted to get something different. Did some more research and I found these Fujicas. I settled on the 690 because that was extremely popular. There was a lot for sale. You could find them pretty easy. All three of these cameras I got from Japan. The Japanese merchants that sell these used cameras, they're very good. They're very clean. They're honest. You know, if you get a description, the description is accurate. So I always looked for ones that were clean lenses, no film, no haze, no fungus, low shutter count, and just clean. I didn't like the cameras that had rust on them or just didn't look good. So all these cameras are pristine, hardly been shot. This one still has the eye cup on it, rubber eye cup. Most of the times you can't find those, and my other two don't have them. So let's talk about this one. This is GSW690. The GSW means it's a 65mm lens. It's a fixed lens. Takes a roll of 120 film, shoots because it's 6x9 in size. That means you get less pictures on the roll. So it only gets eight shots a roll. Which it's a little bit unfortunate because you know it's nicer to have a few more shots on a roll. Makes it less expensive if you do. But it's a really big negative and it takes a really nice photo. This has a really low shutter count, like maybe 30 to 40 shots on it. So very good condition, almost like new. The 65mm lens is equivalent to a 28mm 35mm camera, or on a full frame camera. So it's a wider angle lens, and so the wide angle, it was maybe just a little bit too wide for me. So I decided to look for something maybe not so wide. Really liked these formats. I had bought a couple other kinds of medium formats in between, but I kind of went back to the Texas Leica and I started looking for another camera. That's when I bought this GM670. The difference between this one and the GSW is the GM line of cameras, you can actually remove this lens. It has a button right here. This thing swings a curtain across the lens so that it blacks it out for the film, so that when you change the lens the film doesn't get exposed. So that's the difference between a GM and a GSW or a GW. 6x7 means I can get 10 shots out of this camera. This also has a 100mm lens, and so the angle of the equivalent, the 35 millimeter equivalent is 50. So it's like shooting a 35 millimeter camera with a 50 millimeter lens, which is more of a natural look. And so I like the shot that this one renders, the 6x7. It takes a fantastic photo. I will put some photos at the end of this video that I just recently got developed. And so I decided, because I like these so much, there's two more versions of the Texas Leicas that I know of. There could be more, but there's a 680 and then there's also a 645. So this is a 680, so this is the GW680, which means it has a 90 millimeter lens. 35 millimeter equivalent would be 40 millimeters, so it's slightly more wide angle than my 670, but not as wide as the 690. Being a 680, so the 680 has not been traditionally very popular, and these are harder to find because they just weren't made. They didn't sell a lot of them. But as you can see, it's in excellent condition as well. It's maybe only had, let's see, about 108 shutter clicks on it. Doesn't have the rubber eyepiece. So this is the version 3, the 683. So like the GSW690 I just showed you was a version 1. The difference of the 1 to the 3 is this hood. You can see it has this hood on it. The controls are slightly different. It has a different way to open the door. On the side you pop that lever down, versus the version 1 you open it from the bottom. It's got these little pins that you pull out. Another thing that makes the GW683, the version 3, different than the version 1 is on the very top. It has a level. And so the version 1 does not have a level. So here's the top of the version 1. So that's the two main differences between the version 1 and the 3 is the hood, the level, and the body's a little more plastic and less metal, but I mean it still feels really strong. It's a teeny bit lighter, but it still feels really strong. And the lens quality, to my knowledge, is pretty equal from the older versions to the newer versions. All of these Texas Leicas have a vertical button, so you can turn it vertical and snap there versus here. The 680 being a 6x8, it has, you can take 9 exposures with one roll of 120 film. So I've yet to develop any film from this camera. I just actually sent one off. I like to use the darkroom to develop my film. I can do it myself as well, but I never figured out how to not get lint on things, so I send it to the darkroom, and they do a great job. So yep, that's my 3 Texas Leicas. I do plan on getting a 645. I gotta wait a little bit because they are kind of expensive. When you get them in really good quality, they cost more, and so they're typically around $800-900 bucks. So I'm gonna save up and get a 645. I will put some photos from the 670. You know, I just like to collect cameras. I like to shoot them. I don't have gas, like everybody probably thinks in their mind. Oh, you got gas, you got gear acquisition syndrome because I buy so many cameras. Well, I don't think it's that at all. I think when people have gas, it's because they're buying cameras thinking that if they buy a new camera, they're going to be a better photographer. And that's why they buy new gear all the time. I don't buy new gear all the time. I buy old cameras And I've got many medium formats at this point, and I just like to shoot them. It's just like eating ice cream, you know. One day you want this flavor, another day you want that flavor. Same with film, you know. One day you want to try Tri-X, the other day T-Max, the other day Ultramax 400 or Portra. You know, just to me, different days, different moods require different things. You know, different format, different film. So that's why I have different cameras. And what I hope to do in the future on this channel is to maybe do some reviews of the cameras I have, show you some pictures. And I hope if that's something you'd like to do, I hope you'd comment and maybe like this video. See if I can get a few more YouTube videos out there, and hopefully it's something useful. Thank you.